Of all the things that causes humans unhappiness, there's one huge category, which I call what-if worrying. In Buddhism, it's kind of known as the second arrow. It's basically you're worrying about things that haven't actually happened yet, but which may happen in the future and cause you pain. And actually, the irony is that although it hasn't happened, it's the worrying about its possibility that causes you very real pain in the present. For me, there are 4 techniques that I use to combat this very common category of worrying. And the first is a kind of acceptance or an understanding of why is it that this kind of worrying is so prevalent in human beings. I would almost view it as evolutionary shadow of our long distant ancestors. For our ancestors, anticipating threat was essential to their survival. Let's imagine one of our distant ancestors sees a rock in the distance. Can't quite make it out. Now, for those of our ancestors who just looks at that rock and say, there's a rock, no worries, keep walking. In the 1 in 100 chance that that rock actually turned out to be a lion or a cheetah or some other predator that he hadn't properly distinguished with his vision, he would have been eaten, killed, and his genes or her genes would not have been passed on to the next generation. It was the human beings who saw threat in their natural surroundings who survived to pass on their genes. And therefore we as a species, we are hardwired to look at situations and perceive risk and threat and worry about those risk and threat to our safety and futures. That is essentially the origin of what-if worrying. And therefore when we look at this what-if worrying, we need to treat it for what it is. It's not always an accurate reflection of reality. And in order to overcome it, our logical brain needs to kick in and overcome some of this evolutionary heritage that isn't always helpful in the modern world. So having appreciated that, what are 3 techniques that we can use then to overcome this kind of what-if worrying? Well, the first technique that I like to use, I guess, would be called mindfulness. It's effectively an acceptance that if you're always thinking about the future, worrying about it, or reflecting on the past, you're never living in the one thing that truly exists, which is the present. Mindfulness techniques is about taking your mind off of these worries in the future and fully focusing your attention on what is happening in the here and now. Now, there are many, many ways of doing this. Some people advocate outright meditation practice, where they'll sit for 30 minutes a day, say, and focus on their breath. And I've done that before, and it can be very helpful. But you don't have to be quite so rigorous in order to use this in real life. When I find myself in this kind of what-if worrying spiral, sometimes it's just good to get outside, maybe focusing on the light breeze that brushes against your skin. You focus all of your attention on that. Or you focus on the sound of the cicadas in the trees, or a distant object, whatever it may be. And you pull all of your attention into the present. After a period of time, you can often find that your worries about the future evaporate as you pull your mind fully into the present. You actually enjoy and partake more in what you're doing now. Technique number 2, self-confidence and belief. In your life, you must have had thousands of occasions of what-if worrying or contingent events. And hey, you're still around today. For most of us, nothing really bad ever happened. Even if the worst happens, usually it's not a life-ending event. If an exam goes badly, well, there are many other directions in life to travel. It's not the end. Similarly, if you don't get that promotion, well, maybe it's the thing that stimulates you to go out and find a job that you really want. It's all subjective. And so have the confidence in yourself to know that whatever does happen in the future, whatever that what-if may be, you have in the past dealt with it successfully. And in the future, there's no reason to believe you can't either. So the final technique is perhaps what everything else is leading up to, and is summarized by 2 of my favorite lines from Rudyard Kipling's poem, If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those 2 imposters just the same. Your pain or happiness to outside events is purely subjective. It's controlled by your own reactions. And it's about mastery of your own emotions that truly leads to the ability of self-control and contentment. Whether good things happen or bad things happen, it's up to you to practice the ability to try and remain on an emotional even keel. And if you can manage that, and it may take years of practice, then what-if worrying will no longer be your enemy.